Now, these are candidates who have announced they're not running, and can show you a little bit about who the field might be 4 years or 8 years from now, depending on what happens in 2012. I love John Thune. I don't know if you knew who John Thune is, but watch this guy. He's a Republican John F. Kennedy from the Midwest, handsome, smart, conservative on social and economic issues, very telegenic, very sincere fella, very down to earth, but very sophisticated as well. I was hoping he was going to get in, but he's out. But watch him. He's got tremendous potential. Remember, he took out the former Speaker of the House, and so he's got real potential. Governor Haley Barbour just pulled out, governor of Mississippi. Jeb Bush, of course, would solve all of our problems if he would just get in the race, right? Yes, exactly. We had two Bushes. We didn't have the brightest, smartest, and most conservative and dynamic of the Bushes, unfortunately. And who knows? He has ruled out 2012. He's not ruled out 2016. So there is hope that he could do something. And so we'll see what happens. Don't think Jeb would be a vice presidential candidate. His presence is too commanding. He's too much of an executive. I just don't see that in any universe. John Thune, maybe bring in the West. I mean, John Thune could be a vice presidential candidate. Haley Barbour, perhaps, but a lot of reasons why they might not want to do that. Governor Rick Perry. Actually, there are a lot of people still rumoring that he could pop up and be the consensus candidate. I just went to his inauguration, and I finally figured out Texans. And here's the secret: they think they're their own country. That's what the deal is with Texans. Okay. I mean, here I just came back from Rick Scott's inauguration, right? And it was like, Rick Scott's just very humbly walking down the stairs, and okay, here's the next governor, and he gives a speech. Well, in Texas, it's like someone's just been coronated. And they have these riflemen with these swords come up, and there's all this pomp and circumstance. It looked like something out of England and The Crown. But but Rick Perry is a wonderful guy, very conservative. He channels George Bush Jr. in terms of he sounds just like the guy. A very conservative Christian man, and I think he's a possibility for vice presidential nomination. I think that's probably what he's up to in doing some of the stuff that he's doing. Governor Bobby Jindal, everybody was looking at him thinking he might get in. You, of course, are probably very familiar with him more than other people are, given your geographical location to Louisiana. But wow, what a smart, this guy's like Jeb Bush on steroids. Smart, young, not a typical white male at all, and so could appeal to other minorities. I think he has real potential in the future. Just a very conservative guy, Catholic, and just it's just so funny to see a person of color open their mouth and sound like you're from Louisiana, and he doesn't sound like an Indian, and it's just interesting. But he's a great candidate. Watch Bobby Jindal. Jim DeMint said he wasn't going to run. Of course, everyone knows Marco Rubio, our shining star here in Florida. He can go as high as he wants to go. Literally, he's the full package. If he can maintain his integrity personally and keep his personal life together and stay the course on policy, which he seems to be doing, great potential. Would be an excellent vice presidential candidate, although he's kind of tentatively ruled that out. But I think for whoever's in, he would bring Latinos to the table. He would bring Florida to the table, obviously, which is a critical state in the election, and just is a very attractive, dynamic speaker and would do a lot for the ticket. And you understand the dynamic here, folks. Our country is slowly, if you look at the demographics, the Latino population is gradually going. The numbers are they're not leveling off anytime soon if everything goes as they are, immigration notwithstanding. It's just a political reality. So we have got to capture Latinos and bring them into the Republican Party, bring them into the conservative movement, or we're going to lose them. And so it's a very critical thing, and that's why Marco Rubio, we were hoping Mel Martinez would do that, didn't do that as effective at all. And so we're hoping Marco Rubio can do that and attract the Latino voters into the conservative movement. Governor Chris Christie, I love him. Have you ever heard of Governor Chris Christie in New Jersey? He's the Sopranos governor, straightforward. I'm going to tell you like it is, like the Italian mafia. He He talks to the reporter. He's so straight. I mean, it's comical, but you just love this guy. He is just a straight arrow and blunt and funny, and it's not business as usual again, which is a good thing, I think, to shake up the establishment. And then Mike Pence is a wonderful, wonderful principled man from Indiana. He had talked about running and announced that he will not run. Now, I'm going to end it with this slide, bits and pieces. The Tea Party basically throws all the conventional wisdom out. You can't analyze these races like we used to. The dynamic is very fluid. There's an enormous number of independents now that are very kind of fickle and could go either way depending upon a number of factors. And remember, in this game, the more players there are, the more candidates there are, the less predictable it is and the more dynamic it is. So there's lots of candidates right now, and if Huckabee gets out and all these candidates stay in, it'd be very unpredictable as to what could happen. But the fewer the players, the greater the predictability. You can kind of predict where those three coalitions are going to plant themselves based upon the demographics of the candidate, what they believe on the issues, and how they're doing in some of the polls. Here's my prediction. Watch for Joe Biden to be dropped from the ticket and watch for Hillary Clinton to be vice president of the United States, especially if somebody like Bachmann gets steam and gets on. Either way, I think that is her only chance to be president of the United States given her position in life, and I think that would bring a whole new dynamic to the table. Whether or not they can get along enough to do that, whether or not Barack's willing to do that, I think that's actually a potential thing that could happen that really changes the dynamic in the general election as well. Don't expect any credible Democrat to provide any threat to Obama unless the economy just completely nosedives and the polls are just looking awful and they realize they're going to have another upset like they had last time. And wasn't that a great upset, by the way? Then it's possible you could have some more fair-minded Democrats, if we could have such a thing, come in and perhaps challenge him. I don't know how successfully, but that is a possibility.